Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I am AB along with Jack, and we are the Stream Catchers. Jack, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm having a really good Hawkeye Wednesday. How about you?
I'm feeling good, feeling great. I am also having a good Hawkeye Wednesday and a Spider Man No Way Home Eve. And
Hell yeah.
we just got Hawkeye episode 5 today. I watched it fresh, bright and early this morning, and it
Nice.
was just the start I needed to my day.
It was so good. I was
It
very
was really
pleased with this episode.
very satisfying. So without further ado, folks, we're not gonna babble on too long. We're gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna do quick hits. I'll toss it off to Jack, and then we will get going. And as
Let's do
always,
it.
spoiler alert.
Absolutely.
So we open up with a pretty cool scene that shows Yelena being blipped and then coming back. And then we are brought back to present day where Kate returns to her mother's house after we left off from the last episode. And she tells Eleanor about Jack's shell corporation, leading Eleanor to call the cops and have him arrested. Kate then goes back to her apartment where she finds Yelena. Yelena tells Kate about her past and her mission to kill Clint. And then we jump to Clint putting on the Ronin suit and challenging Maya to a fight at the auto shop where her father was killed. After a pretty sweet fight, Clint unmasks himself and tries to convince Maya to stop pursuing his family and reveals that he was tipped off by an informant working for Maya's boss who wanted her father dead. Kate returns and helps Clint escape. Maya doesn't believe Clint at first, but later questions Kazi, who she suspects of being the informant. The next day, Yelena messages Kate and reveals that she was hired by Eleanor to kill Clint and that she is working with Maya's boss, the Kingpin.
The
Jack,
man himself.
what did you think of the episode, buddy? Did you like it as much as Yelena likes hot sauce?
I love hot sauce. It was such a good episode, man. It was had really good dialogue, had a good fight. I mean, it was so well paced, and it was like every scene was so exciting. It's like it is everything I want in an episode. This episode seriously delivered.
I agree. This show has been so strong from the beginning. I think that you said it best, like between the dialogue and all the little plot lines that are starting to unfold more and more. We have that great
Hmm.
fight with Clint and Maya. And then that ending, man, that was as satisfying a moment as I've had in Marvel outside of portals that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Just because we have been speculating it. I mean, we kind of knew it was coming, but
yeah.
the whole build up, all the little clues here and there, and then of course when you finally see him, I just throw my arms up in the air, and I was
Hmm.
like, "Yes!" At 7 in the morning, I was so excited.
Cue the Grinch music for the end credits. That was funny.
And then that sweet silhouette that you see right behind you on the YouTube
Yes,
version,
yes. What a great picture. Yeah, that's so
uh,
good.
so
All right,
satisfying,
man.
so
Where do
rewarding.
you wanna start, man? What do you wanna talk about first?
Let's jump in on to Eleanor. Let's
Okay.
So we know for sure now she is working. Let's just say with the Kingpin. I don't know
Under
if
under the
for or
Kingpin. Yeah.
she's with them obviously. We
Yeah.
saw Jack get arrested. I'm gonna say that with quotations because I don't know if he actually did get arrested.
What do you mean? Do you think that was like a staged, like those aren't real cops?
I think so. Well, either that or he and Eleanor are kind of working together or know of each other's misdoings. And
Okay.
we know that she works with Kingpin. What do we know about Kingpin? He has everybody in his pocket, cops
Yeah,
and
that's
lawyers and
true.
judges, right? So like maybe she just staged a fake arrest to kind of push Kate off the trail because at this point she doesn't know
Yeah.
that Kate knows that she's working with Kingpin, right?
Hmm.
So maybe she thought this was the last little bit of thing to get Kate to just kind of back off and then they can just move on with their lives.
I like that because Kate, yeah, Kate, that's what Eleanor thinks Kate needs to see,
Yeah.
right? Jack get arrested and go away or whatever. And then meanwhile, Jack can operate elsewhere. And I don't know. He's not tied down to going to and from Eleanor's penthouse with doing Christmas stuff with her and Kate. But I don't know. What I wrote in my notes was Jack putting on a show, or is he innocent?
And
Because like
that's
yeah, because I thought they were real cops and he was really getting arrested. But like, if either he's lying or he's telling the truth, either he's actually innocent and he has no idea what's happening and he's really getting arrested, and then he will really, get off and be back, or he's putting on this show for Kate and he is evil and he is behind all of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, there's two ways it can go, and it's really hard to, because they didn't because that was not the focus of the episode. It's really hard to tell what they're going to do with that. What's going to come of that next episode?
It just was a weird way for him to deliver his reaction to getting arrested. It
I
was
agree.
such a very whatever, this is no big deal. Whereas a lot of times, if somebody is actually innocent, there's confusion, there's a little bit of
Anger,
anger, there's a
for sure.
they may be apologetic to their fiance, like, I swear this isn't real, right? Whereas he was just kind of like, well, all right, I'll go down to this, we'll get this fixed
It
right away.
happens. Sometimes cops just show up at your door.
Yeah, and so I feel like it just feels very out of place, and I feel like Eleanor set that up to get Kate to just finally put everything away.
Okay. I think that's a good theory. I don't. I think that it's hard to tell, but I do like that theory. So you think that you would bet that Eleanor and Jack are still working together?
It's so hard to say, and if I can be honest, I really don't know where Jack fits into all this, because let's just say he is innocent. Like,
Mm-hmm. I
what?
almost want him to be innocent.
Yeah, kind of at a certain point, but like, where does his character resolve?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
because he's been in the show enough. It's not like Grills where he just kind of pops up here and there. He's been in
Mm-hmm.
the show and been a main part of the story. There's got to be some sort of a resolution here, and I don't really know how that happens. It just feels like if we go back to that meeting with Armand in the first episode where he's trying to bid on the sword,
Mm-hmm.
he was more, I don't want to say methodical, but serious than we've seen him outside of that.
Yeah.
He's been so like,
That's true. That's
whatever.
true. He really was only serious with Armand.
Yeah.
All the other times we see him, it seems like he's kind of this like bumbling idiot character who, who likes fencing, who has these extreme hobbies, but just like, more than anything is just this like smooth talking, weirdo, I guess.
And it's always in front of Kate or Clint.
Yeah. Yeah.
We really have never seen him just be with Eleanor.
That's true. That's
Right?
true.
So it's like they're
That
trying to
makes,
show us that he's this like,
yeah,
he's
that
putting on
makes
an
me
act.
think that he is a bad guy. Yeah.
It'd be one thing if we saw him like walking down the street and he's just like, oh, hello there. And he's like grabbing roses
He
and
just treats everybody like that. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
he's like
yes,
petting
this is the
dogs.
finest
And,
rose.
yeah, like he's like eating
Uh,
pizza. I don't know. Like it just seems
Let me
weird
tell
to
you a
me.
story about this tree. This tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he does have this crazy dark side that we've not seen. But how does that resolve? How does him being a bad guy resolve in the last episode, and also have there be room to have a resolution with Yelena versus Clint, to have a resolution with Kingpin? Like how do you jam all of this into one final episode?
Well, I think that kind of segues us into our next talking point, is really kind of what is the climax and what is going to be resolved here. I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like we're going to get much of a Kingpin resolution. I think this was very much a quick, hey guys, Kingpin's here now. I think that we're going to
Mm-hmm.
see a lot more of him in the Echo show that's coming out in the next couple of years. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of clear. I'm sure we'll probably see him pop up in other future shows and movies, maybe a Spider-Man thing down the line, maybe a Daredevil thing, who knows.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like we're going to see much more of Kingpin. We might get a line of dialogue to Eleanor. Maybe he's in the post-credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's got a line or two with Maya. But I don't think we're going to see a point where he and Clint come face to face.
Yeah. I would
Now,
guess that there's a line of dialogue with Maya. If it's, I don't know if it'll be in person or if it'll be a phone call, but I think that Maya and Kingpin will exchange words just because of how, like when Clint dropped, the big truth bomb of,
yeah,
somebody hired me, or some, I had an informant give me information, I had to kill him. When he was talking to her about all this, she was confused, and
yeah,
she, like, right after that, she started questioning Kazi. Like,
yeah,
she's trying to get to the bottom of this, and I think that when she does, everything's going to point to Fisk,
I
and I
agree.
think that she's going to want to have words with him.
Something like that, or maybe she's gonna go to where she thinks he is, and he'll be gone. He's kind of a
Yeah,
man in the shadows, right? He's not very easy to
yeah,
find. So I think that I think that we could see some sort of a confrontation with him. Maybe he takes pity on her or something. But I also feel like if she does come face to face with him and is very confrontational, that would lead to some sort of physical altercation. Maybe he does, injure her or something, but it
yeah.
does feel like they would want to save that for Echo, don't you think?
I would, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So it's
That's
hard to
why I
say.
think just maybe a phone conversation would be perfect, like
Yeah,
a very intense, at each other's throat phone conversation. That way they don't have to fight. They don't have to, they don't have to take all that out of Echo, because I really do think Echo is going to be. I think Kingpin's going to be the antagonist in Echo now.
I agree. I don't know if they
Yeah.
could do a phone conversation per se, since,
Oh, that's true. What would
but
they
so
do?
I think
FaceTime maybe?
could
I don't
maybe.
know.
Well, I would probably say it's more likely that she has some sort of a confrontational moment with Kazi.
Yeah.
Um, and there's
Do you
something.
think Cosby was the informant?
Oh, no doubt. Because when she
Yeah.
left, you could see the look on his face where he was like, "Oh shit, she knows, man."
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no doubt. Yeah, there's no doubt at all. But so we'll see how that story sort of resolves and how they springboard that into her show. But we can for sure expect that story to continue on there. As far
Yeah.
as how everything else resolves, you mentioned Yelena.
Hmm.
I'm inclined to think that Clint just clears up what actually happened and she just says, okay, you
Yeah. I
know,
think that has to happen.
I think I don't know if she's going to be involved in any sort of final battle. Maybe she helps out in a small way, but everything we've seen as far as what the final battle, so to speak, looks like, it's Clint and Kate at Rockefeller Plaza. I'm sure by the
Hmm.
time we get there, Yelena's whole story has been resolved and she goes on to do whatever we'll see her do next in the MCU.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I was toying around with that idea too, because there has to be some sort of final fight. And I mean, no matter, if it's Maya or if it's Yelena for this final fight, I think that the ending, there needs to be some sort of peaceful resolution,
Yeah.
because I think that everybody that's involved is, you know I'm trying not to say good or evil, but like
There's some
redeemable.
ambiguity.
Like, they're like, yeah, everybody's, just for lack of better terms, everybody's a good guy here. I
Yeah.
think Maya is into organized crime, obviously, so she's not a good guy per se, but I don't think she's evil. I think she's got a vendetta against the guy who killed her dad, but, like,
Yeah.
I think at the core of it, she wouldn't hurt an innocent person,
Right.
right? So,
I,
like,
I agree with that.
yeah. And Yelena, I mean, we know her character very well. I mean, even if we didn't, we saw that she saved Kate's life
Yeah.
on the rooftop. So, like, she's not out for blood for anybody but Clint, and even though Kate was an ally, she wouldn't kill her.
Right.
So yeah, I think that there has to be, some amends being made in the final episode.
Sure. I think so. Well, I think we saw the beginnings of that kind of for Clint and Maya. Whether or not they become like chums and
Hmm.
best pals, I don't think that'll happen, but I think that she'll be able to sort of come to some sort of an understanding at least, or
Right,
kind of
exactly,
let
and that
it
would be
let it
perfect for
go.
both of that'd be perfect for both of their characters, because neither
Yeah.
of them are looking for friends. Like, they don't, you know what I mean? Like they
Right.
just need to part ways. That's all they need.
Some closure for sure for both of them, I'm sure,
Exactly.
because Clint's a big part of the whole show has been Clint's guilt as Ronin, and I feel like if she can forgive him, that'll be a good step for him to be able to forgive himself on some level. So I think that there will be some sort of a peaceful resolution for these characters, at least those three: Clint, Yelena, and Maya. And then we'll see kind of what happens with Maya and Kazi, Kate and Jack, Kate and her mom. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here, which is what has made the show so strong.
Yeah, I agree. And they did a good job with that in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because I feel
Yeah,
like we dealt with a lot of the same, like the bad guy isn't really the bad guy sort of theme, I guess.
yeah,
But I feel like Hawkeye is nailing it. I feel like Hawkeye is it's paced a little bit better, maybe.
yeah. I agree.
It's just I really think that Hawkeye is probably my favorite of the shows so far, of the
No
Marvel
doubt,
shows.
man. No doubt.
Yeah.
I agree, and I think that Marvel is really diving into this moral ambiguity area. We saw it in
Mm-hmm.
Eternals. We're seeing it
Mm-hmm.
here. We saw it in, like you said, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Even Loki, on some levels, had it. Like they're really starting
Mm-hmm.
to give us a bit of a gray. Well, Killmonger, right? There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of moral ambiguity going on in Marvel, which I like. I think that that's very real in the world where there's not necessarily a black and a white. There's a lot of gray area, and Hawkeye's
Mm-hmm.
nailing that without any issues. It's been so much fun to watch this show.
Yeah. I love a good villain who cares about the greater good and sticks to their convictions. You know what I mean?
Like a Thanos.
Like a Thanos, like a lizard, like a Doc Ock, like a yeah. I mean, there's so many good villain characters in the MCU.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about Yelena since we were mentioning
Okay,
her a
yeah,
little
let's do
bit.
it.
How phenomenal was that scene with her and Kate in the apartment?
Yeah, I mean, I like that she was able to bring that side of Yelena to
Yeah,
this show so quickly,
yeah,
because she does not see Kate as a threat whatsoever. So she's able to kind of be real with her in the
yeah.
same way that Yelena was real with Natasha in the Black Widow movie. So I mean, she was also intimidating too. Don't get me wrong, but like she opens up with like, "Hey, I'm in your house. I make macaroni. Let's let's have girls' night."
She's like, you don't have cutlery? What is this? This is not cutlery, No, I think Florence Pugh has been just phenomenal. I mean, we've only seen her in
True.
this show and Black Widow, and she has
Mm-hmm.
already been a bright spot to the MCU. And I can honestly say, like, I'm very interested to see where her character goes and how else they use her moving forward. Obviously, we talk about Dark Avengers or Thunder, probably more likely Thunderbolts than Dark Avengers, whenever that's going to pop up.
Yeah.
She's going to be a big part of that, and I'm excited.
Yeah. So with Yelena, I guess her, because we already covered the resolution that Maya and Clint need, right? They kind of just need to part ways. I feel like it's a different story with Yelena just because of how close Clint and Natasha were.
Yeah,
I think that Clint is not only going to want peaceful closure with Yelena. I think that he's going to want to find a friend in her.
I could see that. Well, I feel like he's going to find the friend in Kate more so than
Oh, for
that. But
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's
I
already basically blossomed, right?
right, yeah, for sure. I could see that, just because I mean he knows who she is. When Kate said, "I found out Yelena is Natasha's sister," or I found out that whoever was on the roof was Natasha's sister, he said, "Oh, Yelena." So like he knows of
Yes.
her, and yeah, maybe he
Yes.
does find something like that in her. And I mean, they're not really sisters, but sisters in a way. And why would
Hmm.
he? Why wouldn't he want to befriend her moving forward?
Man, I forgot we didn't even talk about we really didn't even talk about the blip scene at the beginning where Yelena goes to the bathroom and just turns to dust and then reforms and then the bathroom changes around her. What a cool way to do that. And it was I was pretty unexpected too. Like even when they
It
had
was.
even when they put 2018 on the screen and like like put like made you know that that was the year, I still didn't even expect it.
See, and I for whatever reason, maybe I was eating my breakfast or whatever it was, but I didn't see the 2018 at the bottom.
Oh,
So
okay.
in my mind, we're present day. and she's because they say, how's your sister doing? She's like, oh, she's fine, and then she looks really sad. And so I'm like, oh, maybe she's just kind of
Oh,
playing it
did you think
off.
she was
I
lying?
thought,
And
yeah. And so when she
yeah,
goes to the bathroom, I was like, oh, she's just kind of, trying to calm down or whatever. And then she goes away, and I'm like, what the hell? And then she
yeah,
comes back immediately, that was the first time we had seen that, where we saw someone get blipped and then come back from their perspective, to where it was literally like
yeah,
a second of time for
yeah.
her, where she's back, and then like the world around her is changing. The wallpaper or the paint is green, and
Mm-hmm.
that was so well done.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to address it, to talk about it, but like all I have is it was really freaking cool. Like
It was
I like my
bitching.
jaw just dropped as soon as she dusted. I was just like, oh, this is yes. And he comes back, and it's so I don't remember the name of the agent that they were trying to use the antidote on, the
Anna.
girl who's Anna. Yes, thank you. I like how real Anna's how she dealt with that, because like how would you deal with someone who just went to your bathroom and then you can't, like, you like, are you okay in there? Like you open it up and there's dust, and like 5 years later everybody comes back to life, and you're like, you're in my house. I'm 5 years down the road. This is my
I
husband
have a
and my
child
daughter.
now.
I have a
Yeah.
child.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
and
yeah.
they handled it in a really really cool way. Man, anytime they cover the blip, anytime they do any kind of blip thing in any of the movies or TV shows, it's cool.
I
When they
agree.
did it, they did the one at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, which was kind of a unexpected one. That was really cool. It's like they haven't they haven't let us down with blip uh scenes yet.
No, and I think similar to the 2012 battle, where they kind of keep alluding
Hmm.
to it and showing it. I'm pretty sure
Hmm.
moving forward we're going to see a lot of that. I think we're going to see,
Yeah.
because we saw it in, obviously we saw it in Far From Home, where everyone's coming back in the band. The band, that was done in a very comic way.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we saw it in WandaVision with Monica Rambeau coming back, and that was a really
Hmm.
sad way, right? Her mom had died.
That was a really good one.
So I think that we will see that more often for sure in these shows, and the impact that it had. Um,
Hmm.
Speaking of 2012, I didn't know that they had a memorial over at the, what was it? Not Times Square, Grand Central
I
Station.
didn't catch where that was. It was Grand Central. Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So
Yeah,
that was pretty cool to see.
that was cool. Yeah, the that's I actually have a note on that. When Clint goes and takes his hearing aid out and wants to kind of have a little moment and talk to
Yeah.
Natasha. Clint was weird. Clint was really weird this episode. He first he called Laura, right? I think that was first, and he talked things through with her, or was
I
that
think that was
after?
after. I think that was after.
So he was like this whole episode he was building up to, this confrontation with Maya in the used car lot, the fat man's used car lot. And the conversation he had with Laura was a little bit normal, like, okay, I'm going to dress up as this I'm going to dress up as Ronan. I have huge trauma with this persona, this part of my life, and I have to do this sort of thing. And then he wants to apologize to Natasha for what he's about to do, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes and he spares everybody. Do you think that that's what he was talking about, or do you think he's planning something darker for the finale? I mean, I couldn't figure out what he was referring to, or
I
was it
would.
just simply dressing up as the Ronin again?
I think that was what I gathered from it, because the episode
Hmm.
title is Ronin.
Yeah.
So I figured it was just he was apologizing for dressing up as the Ronin. I mean, I guess I did expect him to maybe kill someone. He didn't,
Hmm.
and that's good. But that was the only thing. I can't imagine that he's gonna allude back to. I think at this point he has put that behind him. He's made
Right.
everything clear to Maya. Hey, back off. We'll see how that
Hmm.
resolves next episode. But yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't. I think that's kind of what he was talking about. Was just suiting back up.
Okay. And I guess that makes sense because um that was a part of his life that Natasha helped Barry,
Yeah,
after she talked him out of being the Ronin anymore, that was not his life anymore. And
right.
then she died a hero, and then he has to live on to to honor her memory, basically, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that was her wishes. So he would
yeah,
want to be the good friend and be a good person, because that's what Natasha wanted for him.
absolutely. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was a really great moment, really good scene. They brought back that same music that they used on Vormir.
I
So
noticed it
there,
too. I don't know how you couldn't. Like, it was
yeah,
really in your face this time.
I'm really happy with the amount of with the presence of Black Widow and Natasha we've had in the show. It's been
Yeah.
pretty strong for pretty much the whole thing. So it's been pretty cool to see that they're still finding ways to incorporate her a little bit, and it's a
Hmm.
nice seamless transition from Natasha Romanoff to Yelena Belova. And I
Yeah.
think they've done I think that's an underrated part of the show is how they're handling the transition of Black Widow.
Yeah, and I really thought that it would be handled more by Yelena, but I feel like it's really mostly Clint talking
Yeah,
about Natasha.
yeah.
That is how she's living on. You know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly. So, let's double back real quick
Yeah,
to how do I want to ask this? We find out about Kingpin because Yelena texts Kate Bishop and says, "Hey,
because
your mom
Yelena
is
was following Eleanor in
exactly."
the streets. Yeah,
And she says, "You should know that the person that hired me to kill Clint was Eleanor. Now, when we last saw Yelena before this, Black Widow, she was
it was
actually hired
Val.
by Val to kill
Yeah,
Clint. So where does Val fit in here?
I think Fisk is in bed with Val. I think that they're an alliance somehow. I don't know to what end. I don't have anything figured out, but I do think that they're in some sort of alliance. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be interesting? So I feel like we talk about Dark Avengers or Thunder. I think it's most likely going to be Thunderbolts whenever we see these people come together. We
Hmm.
know John Walker, U.S. agent, is around. We saw Abomination in Shang-Chi. He's
Hmm.
around. We saw Zemo's in the raft. Yelena, obviously. I think that's kind of really all that we have so far for that kind of a group that we might see. John Walker, to me, is not a villain. And Yelena is
Right.
not a villain either. And Abomination, I feel like you could kind of say ambiguous, but, he's historically a villain.
I think I think that all these characters have kind of ambiguous pasts, right?
Yeah, Zemo for sure.
Yeah.
How do you think that fits in? Do you think that they know that they work for Fisk, or if he is with Val? Because I think that's a pretty spot on theory.
Um, say the question again. I'm sorry.
So we will just stick with John Walker and Yelena at this point because we know that they're both
Okay.
directly tied to Val. We won't even speculate on anybody else that's going to
Okay.
be in this group.
Yeah.
Do you think? Well, I guess Yelena would know now. But do you think John Walker knows about Kingpin and
Mm,
Val's potential ties to him? If your theory is right.
I feel like that would be a need to know, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of how Val seems to operate, and that's definitely how Kingpin operates. So I would say no, because I would say that U.S. agent, I would say John Walker knows less than Yelena. I mean, Yelena is a
Probably.
trained spy. John Walker is a soldier, right?
Yeah. It's just very curious to me because we don't know what they're planning with these characters.
Hmm.
I've seen everybody speculate Thunderbolts, but that's all speculation, right? Marvel hasn't come out and said, "Hey, we're planning on a Thunderbolts show or movie." That's just
I
been
know.
sort of a fan casting thing. So yeah, I wonder if Val really is this evil person because it seems like in the comics at least she
I hope
wasn't
so.
evil. In the
I
comics
hope
she
she's
was.
evil.
You did wow, that'd be cool. In the comics she was I think like tied to Nick Fury. They were
Oh,
together.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
We talked about that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, look at Jack and Eleanor. I mean, Jack's a good guy. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I
It's
don't
a
know.
good.
That side of things is really hard to speculate at this point. We're speculating off of breadcrumbs with that.
We are. I think we're
Yeah,
a long ways off from that.
yeah, I think that the next thing that we need to worry about as far as those characters are concerned is Fisk in Echo, right? Because I
Yeah,
think that'll be the next Fisk appearance. Who knows when the next Val appearance will be? Honestly, like every time she hits the screen, it's a surprise. So it's
pretty
hard to
much.
speculate
Yeah,
with her.
yeah. I don't know if we'll see her in this. Maybe I would
Maybe
probably
she'll
say
get
like
a scene in Echo.
maybe she'll try to recruit Echo.
That'd be
Um,
cool.
right. So I feels like there is something there though, because I feel like they wouldn't have carelessly forgotten about Val. That was our introduction of Yelena being in the show. So I feel like Val has to have some sort of ties to Kingpin
Yeah,
or Eleanor, maybe they're friends, I don't know. But there has to be something there as far as hiring Yelena to go kill Clint. And we'll see how Yelena reacts to that.
yeah.
Hopefully.
So shifting gears again, something that I do want to talk about since we're on the penultimate episode. There's only one episode left, and I have talked about it a couple times. I thought that Clint would die at the end of the series. Just kind of, it seems like his time to go. It's a passing of the torch kind of moment. But with the way that this series has set itself up, I really don't think that it's going to end that dramatically. I don't think they kill Clint and then deliver that news to Laura and their kids. Oh, Dad's not going to be home for Christmas. Also, he's dead. I just don't see that happening. I think that we're going to have the happy ending that Clint wants. I think he's going to get home in time for Christmas with his family. I think
I
that's
think
going to
so
be
too.
the final scene, or the final non-dramatic scene, I guess I should say.
I think so too. And I mean, I think that you could make a good argument for his death. If we kind of rewind back to the beginning of the show, we got a
Hmm.
lot more Kate Bishop in the first couple episodes than I thought we would. So it felt like the show was less about Clint, more about Kate. And if she
Hmm.
was the true protagonist, the quote unquote hero, she's going through the hero's journey. Part of the hero's journey is the mentor has to die. So Clint's death does make sense in that
Hmm.
it would be the sort of last step that Kate needs to fully take on that mantle. But I think you're right. I don't think that he's going to die. It'd be a really weird way to end the show based on everything
Yeah.
we've got, especially given that it's coming out the week of Christmas. It'd be a really weird way to
Yeah.
to
Oh
end this.
God.
Be a really weird way to send this
Merry
off.
Christmas, kids.
Yeah, we'll see you in March for
One
for
more
Moon
dead
Knight or whatever.
Avenger.
Yeah, so I feel like at worst Clint retires, but it seems like he's going to be here to stick around for a while, and
I think.
I'm glad, man. I hope that he does. I love the character. I think this show especially has really
Oh
explored
yeah.
him as a character and has strengthened his whole. I'll say it again, character. I've said it a million times. Take a
Yeah.
shot next time I say character, but I
Uh-huh.
think that we have never cared more about Clint than we do now. So why kill him
Yeah.
off now? Let's keep him going. Have him do another Hawkeye show, or have him pop up in Thunderbolts. Have him be a mentor to the young Avengers. Right? Do something with him.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I was actually about to suggest maybe he should fake his death so that he can retire in a more clean way. But I do like him as a mentor. So
Bruce Wayne
I don't
style
know.
and Dark Knight Rises.
I like it. I really like it. Yeah. I think that'd be
Kate's in
perfect for
Italy. And she's
him.
like Clint.
Yeah. And, Hawkeye and maybe more so Ronan, but Ronan is very Batman-esque, and you got to see that in the action scene in
Oh
this
yeah.
episode, because he takes out every single one of Maya's guys without even showing himself to the camera.
Yeah, that was very Batman-esque. I mean, that was that
Mhm.
whole stealth mission where he's pulling guys under cars and hitting them from behind, and you don't really ever see him. You just kind of hear things moving around. That was really well done.
Yeah.
Well, I really have one last talking point,
Okay.
and we didn't we didn't get much talk about the watch this episode, but we got a really quick mention during that phone call with Laura and Clint.
Yeah, that
And
surprised me too.
they they said Maya has it, which I didn't see that
Yeah,
happen.
I thought Kate took it from the apartment. I guess
So did
maybe
I.
she got too preoccupied with the notes that Maya had been taking on Clint and set the watch down, and then got ambushed by Maya. But
I
I don't know. I
swear.
thought she had it.
This could be me just making things up, but I could have swore she put it in her pocket in episode 4. That's
Mm.
how I remember it happening. Maybe,
I don't
maybe,
remember that specifically, but
maybe Maya grabbed it if
why
she
wouldn't
did,
she have?
but
Yeah.
yeah. So
Either way, that's one more plot piece and one more piece of the
it's
puzzle.
it sort of feels like that's going to be our final mission, so to speak. We got to go get the watch so Kingpin doesn't get it.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder even
What
more, what the hell is this watch?
what the hell is the watch? And I've seen a few theories, neither of which I really love. I'm going to run them both
Hmm.
by you. Theory number one is Laura is the owner of the watch. The idea being she is a former agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Probably I've seen a lot of people say that she's actually Mockingbird, who is married to Hawkeye in the comics under a different name, Barbara something or another. And then the idea is Laura retired, took on the name Laura, and has been in hiding ever
Hmm.
since. Now, my problem with the theory is, well, why does Kingpin care about that?
Yeah.
Doesn't really make sense. But it would explain why Laura knows about the watch and why, because the whole thing is Clint used to work with whoever owned the watch, right? So it
Right.
would explain why he's so careful about protecting it as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, my theories, which I have two theories, and I think that both of them are wrong. Theory one, it's a time travel device. I think that's too big.
Yeah.
Theory two, it's Stark tech, and I think that's too small. I think it's somewhere in between there. I just can't figure it out.
The other theory is that it belongs to Nick Fury, and it has information on the scrolls, and that it's supposed to maybe tie into Secret Invasion next year, which is like, again, why would Kingpin care about the
That's
scroll? How does he know
ambiguous.
about the scrolls?
Yeah, I like both of those theories. I don't know how or why Kingpin would give a shit about this watch.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
unless he's just after Avengers stuff. But even then, why?
It's hard to say. I really am not sure. I hope that it's not something that they are setting up for us to find out later on. I hope we at least find out what it is next episode and why they're trying to get it. I feel like we will, but
Mhm.
I hope it's not a Ralph Boner situation or a
Yes, I,
Mephisto
I
or
I hope it's something satisfying and not a power broker. You know.
oh man, that would be so disappointing. That would be so disappointing. We'll see though. I
Yeah.
mean, so that's kind of it though. I mean, we
Hmm.
have next week. We have a lot of stuff to tie up between the watch, Eleanor, what's going to happen to her? Did Jack really get arrested? Yelena, there's a lot to tie up in what'll probably be 45, 50 minutes of an episode. So I'm excited. I love this show so much, and I cannot wait for next week.
Yeah, we got to do the reveal of the suits. We got to give Pizza Dog a name. We
Yeah.
gotta. I mean, there's so many there's so many threads they got to tie up.
One last thing. Do you think I think there's a chance Grills doesn't make it out of the show alive?
So if we're predicting deaths, I would say either Grills, maybe not either or, maybe both Grills and Kazi.
I could see Kazi. I almost wonder if they're going to save him for Echo because I feel like there's going to be something to that. But I could see Kazi
Mm,
dying.
maybe he takes over the operation after Maya's out, and then he's the
Yeah,
new leader of the tracksuits or whatever. I don't know.
kind of like Xialing and Shang-Chi. Yeah, she took
Yeah,
over the tender. I could see it. I feel like they did a little bit too much to make us like Grills, and it feels like we're heading towards disappointment. He does die in the comics in the Hawkeye run,
yeah.
so
Do
I
you think
hope he
we'll still
doesn't.
see? Are you still thinking we'll get LARPers versus
Yeah,
tracksuits?
I really
I'm
hope
I'm
so.
in. Yeah, I'm in on that.
especially after they had that really funny scene with the tracksuits where they're in the truck in the Trust the Bro truck where Hawkeye
Hmm.
shoots the arrow and they're just like talking about Run
Mm-hmm.
DMC, and they're mentioning people that wear tracksuits. So they talk about Run
Mm-hmm.
DMC and Tony Soprano and the Royal Tenenbaums, and it's just like this goofy conversation. Like these guys aren't serious people at all.
Freaking
So
goons.
you could totally see them fighting these people with fake swords and
Yeah.
bow staffs.
Yeah. And even with non-lethal weapons, they're way better.
Yeah, exactly. So I really hope that we see that.
Me too. Me too.
Well, do you have any final
Um,
notes or thoughts or anything?
uh, the only thing I didn't say is Eleanor definitely killed Armand, right? Like, I mean, I
I
feel
think
like
so,
at
yeah.
this point, yeah.
Because Kate says we've been looking into Armand's death, and she immediately goes, like she's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So she
Yeah. And
just when she
Armand
thought,
threatened her the same day. Like,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
just when she thought Kate had finally given up, she's like, oh, by the way, we like know all this stuff about Jack. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that Eleanor definitely did, whether or not she sent Jack to do it or she did it herself or however it happened, she's tied to that death for sure. I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
get that revealed as well. So next week is really set up to be quite a banger. Lots more to be
Mm-hmm.
revealed. Lots of action, I'm sure. Really looking forward to that scene at Rockefeller Plaza. And man, this show has been an absolute joy.
I hope it's long. I hope we get an hour one because it feels like it'd be too much to wrap up in just, half hour, 40 minutes or whatever.
I think most of them have been around 45, 50 minutes, but I mean, if give us an
Yeah.
hour, I would not be upset at all.
I would love an hour.
I think it could use it for sure.
Hmm.
All right. Well,
That's
I
all I
think
got,
that's it.
man.
I think that's it for us, folks. So thank you guys
All right.
as always so much for tuning in. If you want to support the podcast right now, the best way to do that is to share with your friends, or if you're on YouTube, leave us a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel so you know when our podcast comes every week. And until next time, folks, keep on keeping on. And
Yeah.
happy Spider-Man week. Don't spoil it, folks. By the time you hear this
Yeah.
podcast, we will both have seen it, but don't ruin it for anybody.
Yeah. I can't wait for Spider-Man, man. We will yeah, we'll see you on the other side, I guess. We'll probably talk a little bit about Spider-Man, I assume, next week, maybe after we talk about Hawkeye.
That, or we could do a separate podcast this weekend if you want.
Maybe. We'll talk
We'll
about it.
talk about it off air. But all right, folks,
Yeah.
we've
Until
kept
next
you
time.
long enough. Thanks, guys.
We'll
Bye.
catch you later.